There is an ongoing debate around major sporting events like the Super Bowl, the Olympics. On one side, people say there's a huge increase in trafficking during these events, and on the other hand, you have people saying that there's just no connection. If you just look at population math, we know that between 14 to 16% of men will purchase schmecks sometime in their lifetime, and that 4% of men have been buyers in the past 3 years. You take 100 men, somewhere between 4 and 16 of them are potential buyers. And so then if you suddenly have thousands of men in a concentrated place, just based on population math, you're going to see an increase in demand. And of course, the tourism mindset, when you have large groups of men who are looking for recreation, for pleasure, that is going to fuel demand. What we know factually is that the issue of trafficking is a supply and demand issue. If there were no demand, there would be no supply. We also know that traffickers are opportunistic. So when they see a place with opportunity, aka demand, they are going to take advantage of that. And we also have to recognize that not all people who are victimized during major sporting events were newly trafficked as a result of the event. Oftentimes, they're just moved from their city of origin to these events based on the increase in demand. And at the same time, I have also sat with women, for example, in a brothel in Brazil during the World Cup, who were trafficked specifically because of the World Cup and would not have been if it weren't for that sporting event. We also know that coordinated outreach efforts can actually be really effective. Last time the Super Bowl was in LA, I was a part of coordinated outreach efforts. Many victims were recovered, traffickers were arrested, and that's a good thing, because the other thing we know about traffickers, they are deterred when there's an increased risk of them facing legal consequences. There is a lot of benefit to these coordinated outreach efforts. And we would be wise to pause and ask ourselves, if it costs tens of thousands of dollars for a group of volunteers to come from another state and go to a place where a major sporting event is happening, is this the highest and best use of our time and resources, especially during a time when giving to nonprofits is down by 30%. Nonprofits that are doing the day-to-day work of supporting survivors are genuinely at risk of shutting down programs or even closing their doors altogether. Survivors are going to be the ones at the end of the day to deal with the long-term consequences of how resources are used and what happens when the spotlight moves on.